I think the biggest thing that is happening at the moment is not the coffee, not just that, it's just the stress level is a lot different. The pressure is not the same. The amount of work that you need to do is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. It's beyond just simply the green coffee pricing went to the roof.
Hey friends, it's Lee Safar here with some exciting news. The introduction to regenerative coffee farming workshops are now available on demand in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. These workshops are designed to give you actionable insights into the future of coffee farming through regenerative agriculture. Whether you're a coffee producer, roaster, cafe owner, or just passionate about coffee sustainability. For coffee producers, the workshop is available for just $10, and for everyone else, it's $20, a small price to pay for knowledge that could transform your understanding of what it's going to take to grow coffee from now on. Led by our incredible professors Angela Barrero, Murilo Bettarello, Felipe Croce, Carlos Ordóñez, and João Araújo, the workshop is packed with practical knowledge and strategies to help coffee farmers and the entire coffee industry adapt to the challenges of climate change, rising costs, and market demands. If you're a business owner, this workshop is a great and affordable way to inform your employees about the challenges ahead while also supporting Mapper Forward. This is also a great workshop to share with or gift to your coffee producers. Head to mapperforward.coffee/workshops or click the link in the description to purchase the on-demand version and start your journey towards a more sustainable coffee future today. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 1 of a brand new 5-part series with our regular Nawar Adra from
Yeah.
Stitch Coffee in Sydney. Welcome back to the
I'm back.
podcast.
I mean, I don't know. I'm old. So I feel like I've never left. Uh,
Low key, you're one of
Hope
my
everyone enjoyed
favorites.
it.
You can keep coming back. I learn something
Thank
from
you.
you every time. Honestly,
Same
people
here.
get so excited when you come on the podcast.
Uh,
I
Thank you.
get sent a whole bunch of photos and a whole bunch of people getting really excited about it. So welcome back, Noah. What a year we're
Pleasure.
having. It is. It's volatile, let's just say that. And the theme of this series is the reality of this market volatility for coffee businesses. Now, Stitch Coffee is a fan favorite for everybody. You have cafes in multiple countries. You have a roasting facility, and you have Eku, which is a co-roasting facility. In this episode, because anyone who wants to know about Nawar, honestly, we've introduced Nawar so many times
So
on
many
this
times.
podcast.
Feel bad.
Don't feel bad. It's worth it. But people are going to be like, no, can you just get to the conversation? We don't need him to
Okay.
introduce ourselves. So that's why I did that really quick introduction. It's easily by far my favorite roasted coffee brand in the world. And my
Thank
favorite
you.
example to use for clients whenever we're talking about how to approach a market. And there's parts of Noah's brands that I don't understand as a personal consumer, but his consumers absolutely get it. And this is a brand that has been honed over 10 years to be perfect for exactly where Noah knew he wanted to get to. And then when the market was ready for him, he went straight in. And we're talking about Asia here. So you're in Australia, you're also in different parts of Asia. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how 2025 is different from 2024. So in your mind, being somebody who's connected in all parts of the coffee supply chain, how is 2025 different from 2024?
Think, we all know the coffee pricing is probably the first thing that everybody gonna be mentioning, right? But I
Right,
mean, and it's not even 12 months gap, it's actually 6 months,
right.
where the coffee was like a certain price and it is today. But I think the biggest thing that is happening at the moment is not the coffee, not just that, it's just the stress level is a lot different. The pressure is not the same. The amount of work that you need to do is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. It's beyond just simply the green coffee pricing went to the roof, right?
Mm.
Also the other part of the supply chain, even consumer behavior a lot as well. They moved from drinking a lot of coffee at the cafe, but that's been happening over a few years, not just now. But I think now there is a lot of conversation, especially in Australia, because the coffee price in Australia comparing to everywhere in the world in terms of flat whites or milk-based coffee is still way, way, way cheaper.
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
specifically like Sydney is a very, very different market. Melbourne is a lot more likely, like they are already at that $5.86 AUD for a flat white, but Sydney is still at actually the average like 420.
Wow.
I mean, there's a brand new cafe just opened, which is small. It's a hole in the wall, but still serving a pretty good, decent brand. The brand is not bad. And they are $3.70, so for a regular price. So there is a lot of that going on. And definitely the big one is, the technology, the AI coming involved and all that, so learning a new thing. So there's so much going on in this year, and it's only 3 months in.
Trump has only been president for 50
For 6 weeks.
days. The fuck?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
So it
It's
sounds like
beyond comprehension.
well, you're right. There's a lot of anxiety out there. There's a lot of people that really don't know, what do I focus on this year? And I think that it's important to get a real clear understanding of what changed this year compared to last year so that you can get a handle. That's how we're approaching it with clients anyway. How are you thinking about these rapid shifts as a business owner?
The thing is that I've learned right now, and I think, identified in our business, we've been talking about it for years, is the word culture, right?
Yeah, you have.
That's been happening, and culture takes a very, very long time. But I think right now is probably the most important part, is to actually focus on it a lot more than ever before.
Mm,
The hiring that I think the leadership style right now need to really fully step up to where it needs to be,
mm,
and that particular concept, which is culture, it's going to be the success factor
yep.
moving forward to what's going to happen next. So that's one,
Hmm.
and that's going to take a very long time. Implementing systems, reconfiguring everything you do is actually the most important thing that you have to be very concentrating on,
Hmm.
and adapting to technology. Like you really need to now look at AI very, very differently, not just something that can just copy stuff.
Yeah.
You really need to dive so deep in it. Like if you have to take a course, the same thing when I did in COVID, when the internet started to, the e-commerce started to kick in, and I've done the digital marketing thing so I can just understand what the hell they're talking about. I think we do need right now to just understand what are the benefits out there and what needs to be learned, and how do you apply it, because coffee and dealing with people, it's very tricky. Like what are you gonna
Right.
apply AI when you're having this intangible service style industry? But I think in the background, I think you have to go back to everything you've been doing and really kind of relook into everything, literally, so
Mm. And we're going to
that's
talk about
probably.
decision making in the next episode, folks, and you do not want to miss that conversation. But I want to make sure that I understand your hypothesis correctly. So you're saying that this year what's changed is an acceleration in price, volatility, technology is more relevant, and anxiety amongst leadership is what's different in 2025. than in 2024?
Because it's bringing a lot more uncertainty this year, like
Say more
there's a
about
lot.
that.
Yeah, like you really don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know. And this is because there's a global element right now playing a big role, right? Like the dollar, for example, any just you feel like decision made by government impact you now super directly
And quickly.
before.
And quickly.
Yeah, yeah, like a trigger down really impactful on small businesses or businesses who, innovative businesses or business trying to do something different. They're trying to grow, but being in a very, very highly red tape and bureaucratic environment, especially in Australia. If you want to do anything, you need consultant. If you want to do this, you need this, you need
Mm.
that. So it really puts so much pressure on innovation, and it brings so much pressure on, okay, I would rather spend this money on what? On getting a consultant to tell me how I'll be at a 1.5 degrees, or do you want to invest it in a technology that's going to help you to move the business forward? Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's quite fascinating this year. It's very, very different to any other year, actually. The more you dig into it, you're like, wow, this year there is actually, you know why? Because there's no room for error. Do,
Yes. I'd never thought
do,
about
do,
that. I'd never thought about
like
it that way. Mm.
there was a
Same.
couple of rooms. Sometimes you can do a bit of mistakes. You can take a hit. It's okay. What is $1,000 a year, whatever. You can be a little bit, kind of maneuvering across and all that. But I think right now it's more than ever because there's a lot of businesses that any error right now is just super costly.
We have been talking all the many, many times you've been on the podcast in the past few years. We have been talking about a moment of reckoning that's coming. And it's very clear that 2025 is that year. Well, the beginning of that reckoning. And I think it's probably going to take a couple of years. When do you think is the moment this year that we will know that we're there? Because I'm not sure that we're actually in the reckoning yet.
Yeah, I'm. I think probably June, beginning of next Australian financial year. I would say probably around June. Once you finish this financial year, I think everybody is just tight a little bit for the next election as well. So there's a lot of things in the air where people
Mm-hmm.
are not really spending the money. People are not really going out there. The thing is, it's not like they're not spending. They are very cautious about where they want to spend.
Yeah, this
You
is
know,
that
they,
anxiety that you're talking about.
yeah, they're very, very like, you still can go to a place and you can see it packed and you'll be like wondering, man, everybody said there's no money. And, that makes you wonder, it's like, there's so many people in here, you know? How
You
did
know,
that happen?
I was listening to Kathy Wood on her ARK Invests podcast, and she was saying there seems to be a lot of consumer spending going on, and we should all be suspicious about it.
Yeah, yeah. It's still there. The thing is,
But we
right?
should
Like
all be
this,
suspicious about it because how the fuck is it
yeah,
there? Where is everybody getting this money from?
yeah, yeah, it's very, very weird. But that doesn't mean there is no other pressure somewhere else, and
Everyone's
then
screaming at their headphones right now, going, "Everyone's living on credit card debt. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know this."
probably most likely
For
or
sure,
Afterpay or
man. For sure.
whatever the other one is. I hope they won't, but and they are not putting themselves into a lot of that. But the room for error is very, very small, very critical right now,
Mhm.
and I think that's probably where the pressure is. Every customer these days count. Like Sydney is funny because we can sell avocado on toast for like $28. Like
But don't
literally,
you
you can, but don't you dare to put a 50 cent on a
on a
coffee
flat white?
price. You know what I mean?
It's very
It's
strange.
very, very strange. But you know what's interesting is I don't know what's going on with matcha. I think
Uh,
that shift in the market trend is It doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know what's
Bro, I
with
was
that
at a
beverage.
cafe. I was at a cafe the other day with Hassan. Shout out to Hassan.
Yeah.
And we were having a coffee that was completely undrinkable, two coffees. And we looked
Mhm.
around and I said to him, look at all of these tables. There's red drinks. So there's red matcha, there's blue matcha, there's yellow matcha on pretty much every fucking table.
It's a competitor. The thing is, they pay $9 for this. It's insane.
Well, bro, no one wants to drink past crop coffee anymore.
Yeah, yeah, probably, probably. Well, that's there's a lot of these, and I think the coffee is going through this new phase right now, right, where it's kind of reinventing itself a lot in Asia, especially with signature drink and changing
Yeah.
consumer. Like there is a brand in Shanghai that whenever they go, literally, if they are in a tier two city or tier one city, the line is unbelievable.
Really?
These guys are
What do they
doing,
sell?
they
Coffee?
sell four signature drink. They just specialize in
That's it.
signature drink.
Four
That's
signature
it.
drinks. Coffee based,
What
matcha
they,
based, what?
yeah. No, no, coffee. Am I allowed to say the name? Like you
Yeah, yeah,
can,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
yes. Okay. They called, just in case, they
No.
called OPS from
OPS.
in Shanghai.
Shout out to
Unbelievable.
OPS.
It's like, it's amazing. They're probably one of the few that actually taking, and they focus very, very coffee, you know. But signature drink, I think is that disruptive new wave of, coffee drinkers. And we feel it in here. We've got a few signature drink and we can tell
Anyone that
its
goes to
impact.
Sydney, anyone that goes to Sydney and gets the opportunity to go to Stitch, which is the one that I like, the one with yuzu or the one with watermelon?
Yeah, use
The
a
yuzu
cold
one.
brew, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Go have it. I mean, that it's just such an elegant way to drink $15 worth of a signature drink in about 3 seconds.
13, 13,
13,
$13.
sorry.
I'm like,
13.
this is the only time we're actually making money in this industry. We've never made money on a flat white. Damn it. You know.
But seriously, like
Um,
you drink it and you just want more. It's that refreshing. It's that delicious. And it really made me look at signature drinks in a really different way. It made me look at drinking coffee in a different way.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. That's the shift. I think that's the market that's shifting to other products as well or other demands. But to answer the question, they're looking for experience. I think they're looking
Yeah.
for more. So they are spending, but in a different format. But also you need to be really, really at that level, which costs money, which costs stress, which costs, you
Yeah.
really need creativity. You really need to, as again, the culture. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need that creative, entrepreneurial culture, a culture that is not afraid to put some, you have to really radically shift the way you think about how you want to do it. Like obviously the people, there will always be people who are very pure and really focused on the espresso
Hmm.
as a beverage, and they're going to be successful, but they're not going to be too many of them. They're going to
No.
be a very, very, very good bunch of them, but you can literally count them, you know?
Yeah.
But and but there's no room anymore for I will serve an okay coffee or
No.
so and I think that's where the very strong stressful moments that is coming into the market plus the coffee and the thing is with the coffee pricing, I guess the reason I said June is because I think a lot of us would have probably finished their old contract or they're finishing the leftover of the coffee up until May, June. Some big one might go to July, probably. Depends how much coffee they bought. But let's say our size, we're looking into that number anyway, that
Hmm.
June-ish. And then the hit, then the heat is coming, This is
Yeah.
then there will be the phone calls to like, hey, we're going up by 5, 10, I don't know, whatever dollar you want to go up. Yeah.
When the tide goes out, that's when you see who's swimming naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having said that, in the next episode, we're going to really probe Nawar for some ways that he makes decisions in 2025. And in situations where the reality of the industry is really about to get exposed at some point this year, this is what you want to be focusing on. So join us in the next episode, folks. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward.